Hi there, and welcome to the Paula Fiscal Show. My show airs at 3 o'clock p.m. every Sunday on Channel 29 and rerun also on Channel 76. My shows are also uploaded to YouTube so that when you go onto the Paula Fiscal Show channel, you should subscribe and you will be noticed of all the shows that are coming up. Today we have a special guest. For those of you that are from San Francisco and who have attended our wonderful community college, we have a candidate by the name of Victor Olivieri who is running for College Board. Now, before you switch the channel or anything, I want you to listen to this young person who has many qualifications and has studied very, very hard to be able to serve you better as a college trustee. Welcome very much to our show, Victor.
Thank you, Paula.
We want to hear about your qualifications, where you came from, how is it you decided to run for this office?
Well, my name is Victor Olivieri, and I'm a candidate for the Community College Board. I have over 10 years of professional experience in higher education. I have a PhD in political science. I have taught at the university level, and I have been a senior university administrator right here in California. I was chief of staff at the University of California, Riverside, for the provost and executive vice chancellor. And all of this, I think, is the best part. It all started at a community college.
And I understand that you had decided you were going to go to community college after you were in high school and you
Correct.
weren't real focused, or you didn't know what your career path was going to be. So
Correct.
Then what happened?
So like many students at the community college level, I needed to figure out what I wanted to do. I immigrated to the States when I was 12 years old and I barely spoke English, so I actually struggled to get out of high school. And the community college that I had there really helped me through ESL classes and remedial English to not just finish high school, but then figure out that I needed to get a job. And the vocational aspect of that community college led me to become an EMT and able to help my family make ends meet, but also put myself through school. And I transferred to a four-year institution shortly after that. So it's a wonderful place, not only for young people to find themselves, but for anybody to really go figure out what they want to do with their next career move.
Let's talk about the number of people that actually go to our community college.
Right. So City College has gone from an institution having roughly 90,000 students to an institution having 27,000 students taking credit classes and about 14,000 who are still taking vocational and community classes that are non-credit. So it's still a really strong institution that changes the lives of thousands of people every single year here in San Francisco.
Now let's talk a little bit about the money and the finances and the propositions that San Franciscans have passed in order to finance our institution.
So City College is financed through about approximately 45% of it is financed through different tax revenues here in the city. The most popular one, the one that you've probably heard the most because you've voted for it just in a couple of years ago, is Prop W. That goes to the general fund, and that is the money that is used for this free city program. The other 55% comes from the state level or the federal level to pay for the students who are taking credit classes there. But overall, about half of the money for City College comes from the taxpayers here in San Francisco.
And let's talk also about the scholarship programs that are available and the Pell Grants that students can apply for.
So City College is one of those fantastic places because City College is free. It is free, and it has been free for a very long time in the sense that students with need-based grants can take opportunities at the federal and state levels to get different types of grants or fee waivers to take credit classes for free. But now, the fantastic thing that we have here in San Francisco, it's a 2-year pilot called the Free City Program. That comes from the Prop W funding that comes through the sale of properties that are over $5 million. And all of that goes to the general fund, and we have a contract, an MOU, a memorandum of understanding with the city, that a certain amount of that money will go to City College every year to pay for these classes that students cannot take otherwise because they might either be making too much money or their families might be making too much money for a need-based grant. It's a great safety net for anybody who's in San Francisco because anybody now can take advantage of this regardless of their income level.
And let's talk also about the finances and the projected deficit.
So unfortunately, because of the accreditation crisis, City College is in trouble. It hasn't really fully recovered, and it's not recovering fast enough. And that is the one thing that I'm here, and that's the main reason why I'm running for office. The last 3 years, City College has had 3 deficit budgets, and currently it's operating at a $47.9 million deficit. Part of that is the issues with the enrollment not going up fast enough. It's one of the big things that we have as the funding coming in from the state level depends on the number of students who are taking classes there. So far, we're quite far from being revenue neutral. The other aspect of that is that City College needs to become much more efficient. Programs like Free City program, for example, it's an incredible program, but we need to make sure that it's being implemented appropriately so it's not running at a deficit as well.
And so, in order for it to be running more efficiently, how about the system and the processes that are used to bring in, for example, new counselors to help with the scholarship program? Yes. How has that program been working?
Well, the Free City program was implemented, I think, a little too fast. Everybody wanted City College to succeed, and everybody wanted enrollment to get back up there. So when it came time to implementing it that first year, we just simply didn't have the counselors that were appropriately trained to manage the Free City program, and we didn't bring in more counselors that we needed. The Free City money that we get from Prop W does have an earmark for $500,000 to hire new counselors, just so that we can make sure that our students are being walked through the process. Most of these students are like myself, first generation, underserved, underrepresented communities who haven't gone to college, and their parents don't know. And it's difficult to get through, it's difficult to sign up for these classes. But the Free City program operates as a last dollar program. So students have to apply at the federal and state level to make sure that the program is sustainable. Right now, Paula, the program last year ran at a $4.77 million deficit, and unfortunately, this year, because students are not applying to financial aid as they should, it looks like it's going to double. We're going to be closer to $8.7 million deficit just for the Free City program. So we desperately need to have some good, innovative ways to make sure that our students are not only are getting the counselors that they need, but that the program is expanded appropriately by working with the city to make sure that we get more funding for that program.
And do you believe that if there were more counselors or if there were more programs to bring in more people to highlight the application process, would that help at all? Or is this something that a community group could participate in? Is there a volunteer mechanism that's in place?
There are some things. I think word of mouth between the students goes a long way. I think it would be wonderful to be innovative and actually hire students, hire student workers, so you can have peer counselors that are actually not only putting themselves through school and working through school, but helping their own peers. But ultimately, there's nothing like having trained professionals.
Peer counseling would be a good way to bring in more people to increase the application process.
Correct.
To bring in more monies. And on your platform, you're running for this office because you're going to be able to help with some of these issues, right?
Correct. One of the biggest things that I want to do is making sure that we take care of our community, we take care of our students, we take care of the innovation that we have in San Francisco, and really truly embrace it. I want to have a 2-year promise so that every student knows that they can go to City College and either get a degree or move on to the next steps in their career within 2 years. That's the point of a community college, to really get in there and get the things that you need to do right away so you can move on to the next steps. And unfortunately, about 77% of our students can't get the classes they need in time to graduate. That's my first priority.
In other words, even though they know what they need, when they apply to get these classes, there's no space for them?
That's part of it. Part of it is also that students need to be guided through the process of not just registration, but scheduling. And this is why we need to have more counselors. We need to have more well-trained counselors come in. We also could have a lot more work, like I said, with learning communities. We could structure the block scheduling that we currently need to also implement to make sure that students can get the classes they need along the pathways of learning communities so that students are helping each other as they're going through. This is one of the great success stories that we had at UC Riverside, where we took the Pell Grant recipients, the underserved, underrepresented communities, and we actually closed the gap so much between the rest of the students and those communities that they were outperforming their peers. That's a fantastic story.
Now that is a very good story, because if you get more assistance in there, and so what about the number of professors that are in community college, are we under the number that we should have? Where are we?
We're actually over the number. The collaborative brain trust that City College itself has did a comparative study with comparable institutions throughout the state, and they found out that actually we are quite top heavy. We're simply not as efficient as we could be, and this is one of the things that I really want to work with, because if 77% of our students can't get the classes they need, but we have a lot of professors, then we got to make sure that we're offering the classes in an efficient way, not just at City College main campus, at Ocean campus, but throughout the rest of the institutions. We have 9 other institutions that could be offering these classes throughout the community, in a sense being more efficient.
How about the Southeast Community College campus? Have you had any experience with that campus?
I have, actually. I've been there several times. I'll be going over to the Evans campus in the Southeast tonight, Thursday, when the trustees have a meeting there. That's one of the great campuses that we have that could really be focused as a vocational center campus. And I think it would be wonderful for the Free City to be expanded along those routes. While we have the academic mission that is truly important, and we could never ever forsake that mission, the vocational and community missions need a lot of love in San Francisco. We are, after all, a community college, and we need to be there to make sure that everybody has the classes they need, whether they're credit or non-credit. And the vocational aspect of it is one of the things that our students desperately need. We need a local, sustainable workforce that's diverse in San Francisco, and we need to make sure that everybody who can and wants to stay in San Francisco can get a good job. San Francisco City College can do that for them.
And let's talk a little bit more about the finances, because I believe that a lot of the people, and myself included in San Francisco, when we voted for that Prop W, we really did feel then that we were doing our part to assist in educating our workforce. And I say this because community college, of course, is the place to go for English as a second language.
Absolutely.
And do those numbers skew over into more of a transitional type of a class then, and does that affect the money also?
Correct. One of the big issues with the Free City program is that it only covers credit classes. ESL classes are considered non-credit, and as a matter of fact, 80% of those ESL classes that are vocational, the ones that students need to be able to engage in the community, engage in the economy, get a job, are also non-credit. So I would love to expand the Free City program onto that, not only because it would be free, but it could be a way for our students who can't register for federal financial aid or apply for state level financial aid for whatever reason, can have that at the local level without any fear or repercussions. The other aspect of it is that if we really want to expand amazing models like the City Build Academy model, the Free City program would be a wonderful way of doing that, because guess what? We would be taking care of our own local homegrown workforce. And we have so many companies throughout the city that I think would love to partner with us to not only diversify the workforce, but really take care of the students that we need to take care of the most. That includes tech, healthcare, biomedical sciences, all the lab techs that are in San Francisco could be coming from City College through education pipelines that go directly into employment. And that's the wonderful source that City College could be through the Free City program.
Let's talk about some of the other campuses. And we talked about the Southeast Community College campus, then of course everyone knows the Ocean campus.
Of course.
And what are some of the others?
So I think the other two big ones that we have are the Mission campus. That's the second biggest campus.
Now wait a minute, the Mission campus is the brand new one, right?
It is. I would say it's the second newest one. The Chinatown campus has the newest building.
Newest building.
Correct.
But when they were building the one downtown on Mission, that was a big deal for everybody.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal because it is one of the most underserved communities in San Francisco. And the Mission campus has really become a hub for the community to take their classes, anything from, again, vocational ESL classes to naturalization classes. What we need to do there is have a lot more tech classes, a lot more credit classes, a lot more diversity so our students don't have to go all the way to the Ocean campus. Because guess what? Our students are busy. They're busy with their lives, they're busy with their jobs, sometimes 2 or 3 jobs, and they're busy with their families. So it's difficult to get your education if you have different barriers. And one of my top priorities in the sense of taking care of our community is lowering these barriers to education. I want to make sure that we have systemic investment in things like childcare so that every campus can have an opportunity to have parents go there and take the classes they need. The Mission campus is one of the biggest campuses that we have. It serves over 10,000 students. And it is actually one of those campuses that's doing very well fiscally because we have great leadership there.
And when you are elected, what would be one of the first topics, first problems that you see that you will approach?
So I'd say that within the first 100 days, we need to do 3 things. And the first one really is it's taking the experience that we have over the last 5-10 years in City College, the problems that we've had, and really looking at it in a much more holistic way and focusing on the budget. That's the biggest thing. If we focus on the budget and we increase the efficiency of our students to be able to take the classes they need, we will kind of take care of 2 problems at the same time. One of the other biggest things would be the Free City program, right? So we need to make sure that our budget is sustainable, which currently is operating at a massive deficit. We need to make sure that our students are getting the classes they need because that will also supplement with state funding. But the Free City program, which is again a 2-year pilot, is expiring this year. And that is a safety net we can ill afford to lose for the residents in San Francisco. So I want to make sure that that maintains and, if anything, gets expanded to make sure that the mission incorporates a lot more San Franciscans. City College can be there for everybody.
That is a very, very good platform. Now let's talk about some of the people that have endorsed you for this position.
I'm a first-time candidate, but I think one of the wonderful things is that most people see my professional experience, not just as an Army veteran or as someone who has been in higher education for over a decade, but they see somebody who they can work with, somebody who can focus on the students because he knows what it's like to go through community college. I was one of those students that needed community college desperately to get through. And I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for that. So I'm proud to have the endorsement of people like Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, London Breed, and also across the broad spectrum of Democratic politics, from moderates to progressives like David Campos, Hillary Ronen, including 3 sitting college trustees, Tom Temprano, Alex Randolph, and Chanel Williams. And I'm very proud to have their endorsement because I think most people realize that it's time to bring some experienced administrators who are fiscally sustainable and who have a good head on their shoulders so they can work together.
And let's talk a little bit more about the campaign because for many people to run for office really puts you up front, really puts you on the shall we say on the soapbox for sure, but it also is a big sacrifice in your family to be able to get up early, go stand by the bus stops, and stay up late going to all the debates. How are you finding this campaign?
I actually love it. I don't know if it's because I was trained in the military to deal with sleep deprivation or grad school set me up for success by taking a huge amount of information and making it concise and digestible. Ultimately, I'm putting in 18-hour days every day for the last 2-3 months, and I love it. It's difficult running a citywide, I'll give you that. It is incredibly difficult because campaigns are under-sourced, under-financed, and most people don't really know what's going on at City College. But I love getting out there and talking to people every single day, whether it's 6:30 a.m. at a bus stop or whether it's late evening having a meet and greet. Because people ultimately, they really care about City College. They really know that the mission is pivotal, not just to the students, but for the city. They know that education is the single biggest investment that the city can make in its population, in its community. And they want to tell me about it. They want to tell me about their positive experiences, but they also want to tell me about their negative experiences. And that's the best part. When we sit down together and we start hashing out these problems, we can really, really come together and have some innovative solutions to these things. And that's what I'm looking forward to doing the most. Continue to speak to the students, continue to talk to the department chairs, the deans, and the people throughout San Francisco so that we can take care of City College.
Do you think that once people see that this particular position for you would help them get more information, get more scheduling? There was some controversy around the whole act of block scheduling, and there are different rumblings about how it needs to be changed. Is this one of the areas that you've been looking at?
Yes, absolutely. Like I mentioned, a lot of our students just cannot get the classes they need. There are issues of scheduling there. City College used to have block scheduling. And block scheduling, to explain that to everybody viewing today, it's a way of having a system in which students who are taking a specific pathway, who are, let's say, biology majors, can take their biology 101 class, they can take their chemistry 101 class, they can take their physics 101 class, back to back to back, so that they're not competing against each other. So in a sense, a student can be more efficient and take the classes they need each semester and get through their program degree in a much more efficient way. We used to have that, we currently don't. And the issue there is that most of our students are trying to compete for the classes they need to make, their program go through, but they can't find the classes they need. They're oftentimes competing with each other. Oftentimes they have to work, and so that doesn't fit their schedule. So we need to make sure we're offering classes the entire day. And I'm talking from 6 in the morning to 9 in the evening. We also make sure we look at evening classes, that we look at other types of courses, whether they are short courses that are running 6 to 8 weeks instead of the typical full-length semester. But we also need to expand Free City programs so that make sure that our classes are offered for the summer are also free for these students.
And so this particular aspect then of the block scheduling, is the whole scheduling act handled by just one person named curriculum, or is it a series of 10, 15 people? How is that
it's a lot
determined?
More than that. It's a lot more than that.
Let's hear a little bit about how that's determined.
So it's determined by the academic senate, but ultimately it is the department chairs. The department chairs know what's going on the ground, and they work with the deans to make sure that they have the resources they need. As a board member, I have very little to do with that, but what I can do is make sure that they have the leadway, the freedom to do that. And ultimately, the budget, right? The budget is the single biggest thing that we do, and that is why it's so important to have sound fiscal decisions at the board. Because when we pass a budget that is $47.9 million in deficit, whether that is restricted funds or unrestricted funds, it's telling me something. It's telling me that we're not being efficient in the way that we provide our classes to our students. And so working with department chairs, while it might not be the thing that board members do, it's something that we need to be cognizant of. We need to free them up to make sure that they can provide the classes their students need. So we are filling those classes to the limit, and so that we're not having classes that we should not be keeping because they're under-enrolled.
Now, tell me how many meetings you've gone to in the past couple of weeks?
Couple of weeks?
Let's not go back to the beginning of the campaign, although that is a question I wanted to ask you.
Sure.
How is it that you determined that you were going to run for this office?
So I've actually been to every single trustee meeting for the last 2 years, and that's because you have to do the work. You have to get out there and talk to the students, talk to the deans, talk to the department chairs and professors, and that's what I've done. Every single meeting, I show up a couple hours early, I go on campus, I have coffee with somebody, I'll meet with a dean or a faculty member or have coffee with students. And that's how I got to know the issues and the problems, and that's when I decided to run.
But aren't you a professor there?
No, I'm actually not teaching anymore.
Okay.
I still do maintain an active research agenda. I was just published last week, but since I am not teaching, I'm actually not a professor. I would just be considered an educator, which is my current ballot designator.
And you said you were just published. What was it that you were published about?
So my research is ongoing. I actually published on identity politics and how that's affecting political behavior. So my latest publication is on political psychology, which is a peer-reviewed journal, which is coming out in probably just about a month.
Well, that's wonderful, because maybe you don't know, but I used to have an independent bookstore, and so I know what the difficulty is, first of all, to be published in spite of Amazon being around. It's for an academic publishing, it's a little bit more involved. So which press picked you up?
Well, the journal is itself called Political Psychology, and as you know, the peer review process takes years. But we are publishing some cutting-edge research here, which is going to shape the way that we do academics for a very long time. I mean, these are publications that add to the qualitative and quantitative aspects of the accumulation of knowledge. And that's something that I'm very proud of. I desperately miss teaching, and who knows, maybe if I win this election, I will volunteer to teach that political science class at City College, because I would actually really enjoy that. But I will continue to write and do research throughout.
So let's get back to the campaign.
Sure.
Let's talk about how you decided to run. You said you wanted, you're running because you were attending all of the meetings. And so in the back of your mind, were you attending them in order to learn the process, or were you attending them because you wanted to run for office?
Well, a little bit of both. I'm a city commissioner of Veterans Affairs, and City College is by far the largest veteran serving institution in the United States. And so I was involved in that aspect. I was getting to know the students. And the moment I
How
started...
many veterans attend community college?
That's difficult. In the States or in
No,
City
in the
College?
City College.
Oh, we have over 7,000 right now.
Over 7,000 veterans
And
are
it varies
attending
quite a
City
bit
College.
because some students are taking part-time classes, sometimes they're full-time classes. Somewhere between 7,000 and 8,000 is what we currently have.
And the veteran board,
Mm-hmm.
I thought all they did was designate who got to use the green room.
No. So the Veterans Affairs Commission, we're appointed by the mayor or the board of supervisors, and we are essentially tasked to advising them in any single issue that might affect the veteran population. And as some of you know, veterans are disproportionately affected by so many things, from housing to dependency, health issues, economic issues, and that's why we're there. We're there to help veterans. But
That's great. So at this point in the show, I want to thank you for coming on and explaining some of the reasons why you're running for office and why you would be a good candidate. And I want you to leave our viewers with your final statement.
Sure. I think that the reason I'm running ultimately is because we need to start putting students first. Being one of those kids who came through the community college system, I know what it's like to struggle. And having been a professor, having been a university administrator, I know that I can do a better job. And that's why I'm here today, to say that I hope that I can earn your support. I hope that you vote for Victor, and that I hope that we can come together to make sure that City College is there for the next generation of San Franciscans.
And let's tell our viewers how to reach you.
So the best way to reach me and get to know me a little bit better is the website. It's victor4sf.com. That's Victor, F-O-R-S-F.com. And you can see me at any given week at a City College campus near you. I'll be walking around. I'll be at the bus stops in the early morning. I'll be having meets and greets every single day.
But they can also call you.
And of course, yeah. Feel free to give me a call. My number is 415-439-905. And if you want to reach me via email, my email is victor@victor4sf.com. The website, again, is victor4sf.com.
So there you have it. The reasons to elect Victor Olivieri for Community College Board in San Francisco. If you would like to become one of his supporters or you need some more information, he did give his phone number and his email, and it's victor4sf.com. Thank you very much for joining the Paula Fiscal Show. Once again, we want to thank our sponsors. SFID General Contracting does do the editing for our show. And we also have Rosalie Jacquith from the Gypsy Rosalie Wigs and Vintage in North Beach. That's Aaron Peskin's district, for those of you that don't know. And we also have Lisa, who has the SF Siren boutiques, one on Hayes Street, one in the Chestnut District, and the latest new one in the West Portal District. So for those of you that would like to watch our show at any time, all of the shows are available on the YouTube Paula Fiscal channel. So, as we always like to say, keep informed.